Hi, my name is Eric, and I'm a baseball card collector. Sure, it's a kid thing, something normally a 9 or a 10-year-old would collect, but here I am in my 40s, and I'm collecting baseball cards. Again. This is my journey. Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at my autograph collection of players, All-Stars, and Hall of Famers during the junk wax era. I started this project about 2 months ago, and this is what I've gotten through baseball card shows as well as on eBay. I was trying to collect autographs during the junk wax era, starting in 1987 until 1994 when I stopped collecting cards. I wanted the rookie phenoms of that era, and all of the All-Stars and all of those iconic players that I used to watch as a kid, as well as collect way back when. So if you grew up and collected in that era, you'll definitely recognize most of the players in this binder. Keep in mind that I kind of went off the rails and got some autographs from the early 1980s and the late 1990s as well. How can I pass up the opportunity to get some players that should have been in the Hall of Fame, but due to the steroid era, will forever be linked to it? I do have multiples of some players like Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, and Frank Thomas. I have a list of about 30 or so more players that would be considered semi-stars of that era, and of course their autograph should be less than others like Barry Bonds, Cal Ripken, Roger Clemens, and Nolan Ryan. And yes, I do have their autographs. I also have those rookie phenoms like Greg Jeffries, Chris Sabo, Ricky Jordan, Kevin Moss, Bill Spires, Todd Van Poppel, and I'll be going after guys like Brian Taylor pretty soon. This project is strictly raw cards and are not authenticated, and that is the point. If they're real or not, this is my personal collection, and I'm not going to be selling this album. I just want a chance to collect those old 80s and 90s cards from my childhood. Again, with a little twist. Autograph from these guys that I used to watch. The thing is, these players haven't put on cleats, stepped on a diamond or the mound in over 30 years, or played competitively. Most of these players wouldn't ring a bell with the millennials or Generation Z, for that matter, so here's a chance to go back and collect their autographs and relive my childhood in a sense, but also have a chance to own a personalized card from them, even if it isn't addressed to me per se. I literally went out and bought a Beckett baseball card monthly from 1995 in order to get the sets of that year and all the All-Stars or players that played during that era. I went with a binder that could hold 360 cards. That was my limit. No more than that. Let's not get crazy, right? Wrong. Let's just say that there were so many players that I remember, and I was trying to devote a page to each of those major sets of that year. Topps, Donruss, Fleer, Score, and Upper Deck. Let's just say it got out of hand after 1991. After 1990, there were so many other subsets that came out that I tried to keep it simple. Maybe 3 cards of Fleer Ultra, Leaf, Stadium Club, Bowman, and other sets like that. No wonder they called it the junk wax era. The junk wax era produced some pretty bad sets that looked pretty plain and generic, and I was a sucker for those, and I had thousands of those cards. I had complete sets of all of the major brands from 1987 until 1996. I had over 75,000 cards from that era in binders and boxes, and my wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, was nice enough to put me out of my childhood misery. She got mad at me one day and decided what any loving wife would do who is mad at their hubby. Take it all to a random dumpster in another city and let that lucky dumpster diver find a huge score. Everything I had was dumped. Autos, baseballs, bobbleheads, everything. Let's just say she freed up a lot of space in the garage for her stuff. She never said where she took it. I guess she did me a favor. I wouldn't be retiring off that massive collection of worthless cards. So going back to my collection of autographs, I wrote out my list of players that I wanted to get, and they had to be during that span of cards that I had collected. You can imagine that even though these players haven't played in over 30 years, some of their autographs can be pricey. I tried to do TTM or through the mail, and I found that I had no patience to wait to have their autograph. So I did the next best thing, scour eBay for it. They would still be cheaper than if I were mailing them out to the actual player. I found that there were a lot of people like me looking for that same player and autograph. A bidding war did happen on a few of those players. I would say that there are perhaps maybe 4 or more players that seem to be the most expensive ones out there. Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson, George Brett, Kirby Puckett, and Tony Gwynn. And yes, I know that Mr. Puckett and Mr. Gwynn sadly passed away. I have more autographs on order, and I just recently won a bid of a 1992 Fleer Ultra Barry Bonds autograph. My goal is to finish this album in about another 2 or 3 more months. Then we'll be on to another project and another hunt. So what do you think of my player autographs? Tell me what other players that I should look for in that era. Mike Schmidt, Pete Rose, and some others were retiring by the time I started collecting, so I kind of left them off my list. Any other rookie phenoms that I should be looking for? Leave a comment or a suggestion below. If you notice a date and a price on the card, then it is when I got it and the price I paid. It was written on the penny sleeve, not on the card itself. So no cards were harmed making this video. So if you like nostalgia and like baseball cards like me, go ahead and subscribe and make comments about why you like collecting. Follow me on my journey. I'm starting from scratch, and maybe you can give me some tips on collecting again. Thanks for watching.